This guide will teach you how to survive in Curse of the Dead Gods, like what stats to prioritize, how to interrupt enemies, what status effects do, and how to find secrets hidden throughout the map. I'll cover other things like weapons in another video linked at the end. This game is all about managing 4 resources. Health needs to be conserved for obvious reasons. Corruption is shown here and gets applied from certain enemy attacks, as well as every time you enter a new room. You can also get corrupted instead of paying for things if you choose to. Once you fill up this bar, you'll get a random curse before you start the next room, but more on this later. Stamina is used up when you attack or dodge. Many players like to roll out of danger since it evades 99% of the attacks you'll face. If you successfully dodge through an attack, you get refunded the stamina. However, you need to learn how to parry as well. Parrying costs no stamina, and if it works, you get 2 stamina back. Even better, if you parried a melee attack, you weaken the enemy, causing them to take an extra 50% damage for a short time. It might feel risky, but it gets easier with practice, and using the shield increases the timing window of a parry. Finally, you're trying to save up gold to buy things you need during your run. Using the greed counter can help accumulate wealth, and so does buffing your perception stat. It's a good idea to prioritize perception above the other stats, since it increases gold and item drops. After that, some players prefer dexterity, which increases your damage, over constitution, which increases your max health, since being able to kill the enemies faster limits how often you're hit, in theory. But if you're having trouble staying alive, Constitution will help you survive, and having a larger health pool works well with many of the percentage healing buffs you'll find. Sometimes you'll find weapons or accessories which help you heal or remove corruption. There's healing rooms as well, but they aren't always on your preferred path, and they cost corruption to replenish 20% of your health. Initially, you may feel afraid of corruption, but you'll soon notice that some curses can actually feel like buffs, and some synergize really well with other things you've got going on that run. The final curse will always cause your health to slowly drain until it reaches 1, leaving you 1 mistake from death. Because of this, try using corruption to get something you really want or need, especially if you can't afford the gold, but don't cross that line to the 5th curse unless you're experienced enough to handle that. Eventually, in the later levels, you can remove a curse for each boss you kill. Okay, when not in battle, always walk around with your torch, since you take more damage in the dark, and traps are invisible without the light. You may notice that mobs sit and wait until you get close enough to them. Try lighting safe braziers with your torch, and plan which mob you want to kill first before you go running into battle. Your torch can light enemies on fire, but it's not very effective in combat since you have to switch between the weapon groups. Enemies lit on fire take 5 damage a second and light up the surrounding area as well. If you're caught on fire, dodge roll to extinguish the flames. Also, if you have a heavy weapon or bombs, you can clear out most traps, which make battles easier to manage. Here's some things to note about traps. Arrow traps can't be destroyed. Poison gas can be lit, causing it to explode, and if you hit these eggs with, say, a fire attack, you'll apply fire to everyone hit by it. Same goes for poison, electricity, and dark attacks. Purple health bars are summoned mobs that don't trigger benefits from things like weapons and accessories that heal you for every kill. Mobs with gold frames around their health will be harder and stronger. Sometimes this means they'll have new attacks or apply corruption. Learn how to interrupt enemies and abuse this often. Heavy two-handed weapons and bombs interrupt enemy attacks, and you can chain these on enemies that aren't bosses even with depleted stamina. Other moves that interrupt are charged attacks from shields and whips, the pistol's offhand combo, and combo finishers from daggers and spears. Poison applies 50% extra damage over time, and if you manage to poison an enemy on fire, they'll take even more fire damage. If you're poisoned, you'll lose a bit of health, and your stamina will regenerate really slowly. Lightning attacks apply the shocked status. Some attacks like combo finishers generate a lightning attack on all shocked enemies. This deals an additional 50% of the finisher's damage, interrupts enemies hit by the lightning, and sets them on fire too. Eventually, you'll unlock dark damage by using cursed weapons. If the enemy is on fire, cursed weapons extinguish the flame and weaken them. If you hit an enemy that's poisoned, it prolongs the poison damage. If you hit shocked enemies, it'll trigger the lightning attack right away. Just be aware that cursed weapon attacks, just like the enemy corruption attacks, will remove flames from braziers, and if you accidentally hit yourself with a corrupted bomb weapon, you'll get some of the corruption effect along with the damage. Ouch. Here are some last tips to up your game. Learning the maps helps you avoid dangers and find hidden areas. Many centerpieces can block ranged attacks. Be sure to abuse this. Crossing these thresholds will normally lock the previous area, but in a few rare cases, the door won't close. It's just a bluff. This is most obvious when you're at the last door to move to the next area, but there's still a threshold to the side allowing you to explore before you return to the final door. Stalagmites and crystals blocking a path can be destroyed. You don't even need a heavy weapon, but heavy two-handed weapons and bombs open cracks in walls, which usually reveals more treasure. Thanks for supporting my underrated channel. Click here to learn about weapons and blessings, and sub to find my content again.